Hi there, this is C.M. Brown, and I'd like to talk to you today about the experience of rationality in our lives. Rationality has taken on the form of the most prominent part of how we regard ourselves and how we regard other people and how we regard the world that we live in. And it's permeated everything since the time of Descartes, and manifesting itself in our idolization of science and of the power that we give to the medical profession and the power that we can actually send a vehicle made by human beings to land gracefully on the surface of Mars, send back data that scientists are reading on Earth from soil samples. Now, this really is a triumph of the rational mind, and it's to be commended, not to be denigrated, but to be commended. But we have to remember that science and rationality have a particular place in our existence which is beneficial, but it's limited, because we cannot use rationality to define our lives completely, because we're just too big, we're too complex, we're too deep for something as limited, really, as rationality is. Now, the famous and very wise monk from India, Swami Vivekananda, had a great quote about rationality. I'm going to read it to you because I don't remember it right offhand. Logic is nothing but a hideous caricature of reality. Logic is nothing but a hideous caricature of reality. But the trouble is that we regard rationality as reality. So what we're regarding as reality is really a caricature of what is really and truly real. And this is something that can only be experienced through the heart, through the emotional, expansive self, rather than through the rational experience of the mind. Now, love, of course, is a perfect example of how something which is very irrational can take over a person's being completely. That's how powerful love is. And that's what this experience of self is like. It's like the feeling of love, the feeling of being in love. Because really, that's what it is. It is love. And when we feel love, we've touched something very deep in ourselves, something very true that cannot be figured out and rationalized and made into equations. Now, love is not going to send a vehicle to Mars and send samples back to be analyzed rationally and scientifically. And that has its place. And that's okay for its place. But love can help to heal yourself. It can help to heal others. And it can help you as a pathway toward understanding who you really are. Now, in the Vedantic tradition, that which we truly are is not this body, not this conglomeration of cells that can all be categorized, but it is something which has been given the name of Atman, which is kind of interesting because you can't give this a name, this experience. Now we call it love. And we also call it the Atman in the Vedantic tradition. And Atman is the part of you that's in you that is the real you. Because it's a part, not just connected to, but a part of what is called Brahman, which is the transcendent experience of everything that is, things that are that we can never understand in our limited mind, but things that we can feel, things that we can open up to. And it's a transcendent experience, just as love is a transcendent experience. And this is in you. This is I wouldn't even say it's a part of you, I would say that it's the essence of you. And this is what can save you from frowning and trying to figure it out in a rational way, from applying rational means or techniques to something that is not rational, that can't be understood through rationality, but can understood through opening the heart. And that's what we do when we practice yoga. That's what we do when we practice meditation. And that's what we do when we practice living consciously. Now that's a phrase that's thrown around a lot, but here's what I mean when I say living consciously. Living with the consciousness that within you, that is very accessible to you, that you can feel and you can touch with your awareness when you're quiet, when you're listening. So here's my question to you. Do you want this? Do you want to be able to move beyond this trying and getting and worrying and striving and competing, and basically making yourself feel miserable. Do you want to be able to be at peace with yourself? To be able to be content in this knowledge of what lives inside of you? Well, you can do that. It is completely within the realm of your abilities to do this. But you have to learn to be quiet sometimes, to hear it, to feel it, to allow it to make itself known to you. So in concluding this, I would say that stop listening to this rational way of experiencing the world and yourself and other people. And know that it's a very useful and functional activity that helps us to survive in the world. But what helps us to survive, to truly survive, not just survive actually, but to live, to flourish, is to use that rationality, but not believe that it is the end of the story, that it's you, that you can be defined rationally. But being open, you might say, to the experience of endlessness, of peace, of the reality of who you are. I say yes to you. Yes. You can open yourself up to this reality. Namaste.